Okay. Hi, Khalid. How are
Hi,
you
Jonas.
doing?
I'm
Yeah,
good. How are
it's
you? Nice to meet you.
good. It's nice to meet you. I heard some good things from Faven. Uh, and for whoever's watching and doesn't know who Faven is my co-founder, the co-founder of Mado. So you used to be her direct supervisor in her previous job. Was that it?
Yeah, Faven was an amazing colleague to work with, and we've done amazing things, as I'm sure you'll find out soon enough. Yeah, that is true.
Tell me more. Tell me more about what you're doing. What was the name of that company? Um, like, what did you do in that role? Can you start speaking a little bit about that?
Yeah, man, I'd actually be 100% delighted to do that. So, where was I working? So, the company is a company social responsibility program that is organized under Orange Telecom by the French big telecom company, namely Orange Digital Center. So, the idea that they had was as a responsibility to the world and upbringing, and also making people basically qualify to be part of the general professional world, was to give them uh, basically to give people insights and trainings and making prototypes and also making them mature in their business perspective. So the specific program that I was the lead of was the coding school. So under the coding school, I was the program director and lead that basically managed every internal and external relationships for the values as well as the product developments that we have within it. So my relation, to summarize the question that I have for you, was Fabian, was I was her direct supervisor, as she was the trainer for amazing students, over 2,000 students that we've trained within that year, and over 3,000 people we have basically flourished into professionalism throughout the whole year. So my roles basically there was to manage the onboarding of the startups into the program, to manage the onboarding of the students that are going to be part of our program, and so many things that are basically strategically planning the partnerships and the productivity that we have around here. We had ventures where we went out to government institutes, to ministries, to TVET organizations and universities, to basically expand our reach and reach the people and the youth that we needed, to basically give them the soft skill, the technical trainings, and whatever business idea they have, to put it into our group, incubate it, and basically just launch it up to the business stratosphere that they aim to reach from the get-go. So that was
Oh,
more or less what I did and what I managed.
that that is very interesting. So, if I understand this correctly, you had students that come in, they would do training, and then you had partnerships with industry. So, did they build anything? The students, they would come in, they would learn how to code, and did they build anything for industry?
This basically addresses everything that we did in short, honestly, but
Okay.
there is more to it. We don't necessarily teach them how to code. There are people that didn't know anything, but there are people that excelled in their own perspective industry, in their schools, and so forth. But we had specialized programs for those that already knew how to, you know, their way around a computer and their way around, whatever is needed to be a professional coder. But there were people that didn't know anything as well. So we, at the time, there were even kids. So we had coding games for kids. We had coding games for adults. We even had a way for their parents to participate in those programs. But to give you the basic streamlined process that we used when it comes to this type of upbringing and upskilling, as well as making them, be capable of facing the outside world, we had a professional conversion program. This basically, I guess, came to life in two ways. One, our training programs that lasted 3 days, 21 hours, 7 days a day, 7 hours a day. And we were able to communicate with them, have one on one conversations with them, only small amount of people that we've had for this program. But there were also internship programs in which they came in, they knew what to do. They had programs, they had products that they built. We've taught them so many soft skills, agile project management, business management skills, sales and marketing skills, and so many other intriguing techniques that they might use in the outside world. So within these programs, we've also brought a lot of professionals from the outside of our company, from our partnership programs, and so forth. And our entirety purpose to this program was to basically make them contribute to the industry. We've had internship programs that basically rolled out 6 projects. They helped. I think one of the companies that are using an Uber an Uber sort of program for lorries and trucks and whoever might need big transport and overhauls around the company. There were healthcare companies that were invested in our programs. So many other technical. There was a vending machine that basically recycled water bottles and gave them money. It's so many. It's not limited to
Okay.
just
So,
technology. It's
so just
limited
a
to
huge
yeah,
project. Okay, you're
yeah,
part
huge
of a huge
projects
project.
individually. Yes, sir.
Okay. One thing I noticed as I was looking through your resume was um, your degree is in civil engineering. So now but even from the start, you've been involved more in the project management in the software development world, different leadership positions. So like, tell me a little bit about that. Like you didn't like it? What happened with civil engineering?
I liked it. It's honestly one of the pleasures of my life. It was an amazing degree to have, an amazing courses to go through, and I always get this, like, you didn't like it, why did you move to project management? But what people I think miss when it comes to civil engineering, it really is about people management. When you're a civil engineer, you deal with a lot of things. This is from day laborers to project managers to structural engineers that are like, on a high level, that don't necessarily want to communicate with you that much. So you deal with all type of people. So project management for me is about 2 things: risk management and people management. And what better way to learn this other than civil engineering? It's literally building projects after projects, mini projects every day. Today you build a concrete block, tomorrow you build a slab on top of it. So it has taught me a lot, honestly. And within it, there are 2 things. Besides the physics, that is as complicated as it is on itself, but there are 2 things I learned from it. It has a lot of management economic courses. So this has, I guess, given me an insight into management and economics. This again, quality management is included within this. Risk management is included. Financial management is included in this. So overall, project management was something I was passionate about from the get-go. I can go on about how I came
Yeah,
to life through it, but since your question is specifically civil engineering,
yeah,
after I got out, there was still a lot of coding involved. When you're a civil engineer, when you want to do structures and so forth, the software side of it is not something that you cannot, I guess, not mention when talking about civil engineering. So before I joined even this industry that I wanted to work with project management, I've always been keen into seeing projects. And my childhood and everything else, being a gamer myself, it's always been, I guess, construed towards software. So I've always been interested, even as a kid. I've always been intrigued on how things were built and so forth. So it was my, I guess, physical background when it comes to civil engineering. This two will clash together and
yeah.
bring forth the project manager that I am today.
Interesting. So, how did you make that transition? Like, how did you move from managing civil engineering projects to moving into the software space? Can you tell me about maybe how you got into your first role?
Yeah, ever since my internship program as a civil engineer, during my excursion during my internship here as a civil engineer during the school, I've taken leadership role within that specific internship. It lasted for like 6 to 9 months, but uh, I understood that even like this, working in a set of environment that is heavily dependent on other people was not something that I really wanted to do for the rest of my life. So what I did was within there were a group of friends that we gathered together and we started to, basically talk and circle around rather than playing around and waste our youth. Is just like, how can we build a business? How can we build something that can come to fruition and basically, secure our future, honestly speaking. And within that, we are able to communicate with our family, extended family, to invest on certain projects that we've had. And I started as a business management associate. And I started that, working under someone that has extensive experience, but I was able to conduct analysis and, learn from that person a lot. After that, it was handling the sales and marketing for that company. And, that got me into thinking about my creative side, and which, again, when you go through my CV, you'll see that I've had a bit of a roller coaster around that time. But after a while, when you go through this type of things, you'll find your niche and your specialty. Without
Yeah.
exploring, I would not say I was, I was born to do this. I didn't know that, but I had to explore a
Yeah.
lot of things, and that's how I came to this decision.
Amazing. Like I was definitely looking at it, and you've done a bunch of different things where you've worked as a management associate, a business management associate, you've worked in sales and marketing, you've worked as a creative consultant, like all these different things. And then now you're kind of settling into that project manager kind of role in different places. Um, I think it's really good to get like different experiences. It does make you well-rounded as an individual. So now that you're in the, how did you get into the softer side of project management? How was that introduction?
Yeah. So before I get into that, of course, everything leads up to something, right? There's always a saying that I say, might be wrong, but software engineers are quite difficult to deal with. So they need a little, I guess, they need a
Yeah.
little, I get push and pull and type of this. You need to have that sort of charisma around them and be able to, to basically give them what they want and return to exactly what you want delivered. And like you say, being this well-rounded person, that I knew how to trade a lot of trades in a sense. So I was able to, I guess, tap in wisdom a little more. So the project that I mainly worked on back then was a software program. So it aimed to develop a yellow page for a city, not a city, but a country afterwards. And then not a country, but then a continent afterwards. So within that, I had to deal with a lot of software engineers that were not as pleasant as I'm smiling about right now. But you learn to deal with it. You're a project manager at the end of the day. So you had to manage that project, and you learn throughout the business that, like, wait, this is actually interesting when you learn how to do it. And my initial idea of them being difficult was not so true after all. It was me just not being able to understand them, and understanding people really intrigued me. And there were complicated ones that I really wanted to understand more. And within that journey, I was like, this is really interesting. And I actually have a second reason for that, is the fact that everything that software engineers do come from nothing. Just give them an idea, they give you a whole functioning system. You give them a small product vision, and it's something concrete that people are using within a month of time. So building things from scratch and having them available to everyone, and having them influence and making things easy for everyone's day-to-day life was something I did not want to miss out on. So I was
Okay.
like, yep, this is it.
Nice. So you're in this space. So tell me some of your tips and tricks. So programmers can be a bit different in their own ways. Like I've been part of the process for a bit, and I know sometimes they're not very social, but they're really good at coding. Sometimes they're not great with deadlines. So can you tell me a little bit about what are some of the tips and tricks? Like what are the strategies you use to lead projects well?
Well, there are two things that I usually use, and I always say this. I know I keep repeating myself. There's two things: it's people management and it's risk management. So, how do I deal with them personally? As people, they're different. One programmer is different from the other one is different from the other. Backend programmers have their own personality, front end developers have their own personality, UI UX team has their own personality. So, understanding them, talking to them on a human level, relating to them. And it's not this managerial top down approach that I usually use. I actually make them think they're my boss. So, it's more of, hey, can we do this, rather than, hey, can you do this for me?
Mhm.
So this leading from the front approach really helped me manage a lot of things, and making sure that they don't miss out on activities, group activities, team lunch, whatever it may be. I always participated in them, and I never made it feel like that. Hey, I'm the project manager. These are my requirements. Please do this. It was always like, hey, we're a team, and building that team functionality, and also having that, I guess, environment around it really helped me around it. And for your second question, they're not good with deadlines. Yes, they're not, but you have to risk manage. You have to give them a buffer zone. You have to indicate that certain timelines could be less extended than they actually are. So I told them, maybe, hey, only have a week to deliver it, but in reality, I might have a month. So, you know, pushing
Oh
them, being
yeah, of
smart
course.
around them.
Of course. Yes, you keep your
Yeah,
schedules on the behind and then you figure it out. Okay. Um, and I
100%.
guess
Yeah.
one thing I'm curious about is you're in the software space. when your background is not a coder, or you it's not in computer science or engineering and any of those things. Have you found it challenging to break into the space?
I don't want to say challenge, but of course there. Yeah.
Uh,
So
Sorry for that technical glitch. Go ahead.
no, you're good. So yeah, to basically answer your question, I wouldn't say challenge. Of course, there are challenges in life, but I wouldn't put it to that much level of a resistance. As you grow to know me, you'll understand that I'm a very agile person that can maneuver through a lot of things. So at first, yeah, there were times where software engineers they didn't think I know what they're talking about. So of course, they tried to trick me and say, "Hey, this is a very difficult thing." But there are two things that I do. One, I am not shy to learn. I will ask you anything, and the world is a huge space that you can learn from. You can Google, you can use AI, you can do so many things. Understanding the things that people are doing is key to making sure that they deliver on time. The second thing is I'm not shy to ask people and to tell them I don't know. So if something is taking a lot of time, asking another expert was the way for me to go about it. So I ask another expert, ask him or ask her, hey, I don't understand this. Can you please help me with this? How long would it take? And then to my previous point, I go and Google, search an AI, whatever it may be. I basically, make a balance between these. If someone tells me it takes 8 hours, but Google takes 6 hours, I have to find a balance. I have to weight this average. So maybe might take 6 hours based on the capacity of my programmer. Might take 7 hours to just put it down the middle. But these two things help me basically break through all the resistance that I was facing. And now I've pretty much acclimated myself to their environment. I now, I guess, in a way, have found this type of plateau that I've reached in terms of understanding what they're talking about and other things. And I've also, again, trained myself with various things. This could be online courses, and this could be taking whatever someone tells me, writing it down, make sure I Google about it, and make sure that whatever is being implemented is something that I understand and so forth. But like I said earlier, it really helps to ask people, and it also really helps to basically do your own research and not being shy to learn.
Okay.
That's the challenge that I faced and how I tackle.
Okay. And so in terms of the types of projects that you've been involved with, I know there's a lot of different types of development. You could go down the mobile route, you could go down the web dev route. There's stuff in I guess not really web, not really mobile. Um, so there's different ways to go about development. And what kind of projects have you been involved in? Maybe you can also talk to a little bit about the different code bases that you've been exposed to.
So for the web apps, usually it's so let me tell you what I'm doing right now. Currently, it's a very exciting project. It's a multi-tenant software as a service platform that allows any type of gig professional marketplace that allows them to record their business, register with us, that allows them to launch their marketplace within minutes, that allows them to onboard their talents, that allows them to vet their talents. It has automated matching. It also has upskilling program reviews and so many things included within this. So uh, it's more or less the reason that I have joined in it is because of the code bases that I've worked in. So the front end uses various platforms. So it has Angular. It basically have microservices in which you can program it to whatever you like, but our program will handle it. So the backend is Node.js, and the matching engine we use Python for it, and basically communicate through APIs. I've done some work on Android. I've done some work on iOS when it comes to some projects that I've managed for my previous company. We used Flutter. We also use Android Studio and Apple's Studio to basically program what we have. Yeah, but if you want to go into details, give me more questions, and I'm more than willing to answer.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good answer. One question I have is, have you worked with e-commerce platforms at all? Like Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce?
Yes, there's actually one of the projects under the program that I managed that aimed to basically digitize Ethiopia was an e-commerce project that wanted to sell traditional clothes all around the world with free delivery to whoever ordered it. So we used WordPress. We've actually implemented Shopify on it as well, and a lot of other analytical things. Even using the SEO was something that I did it personally, and tagging it mentally, and so many things that I've done with e-commerce as well. But when it comes to the length of it, that's the capacity that I have. It's only one project, but yes,
Okay.
100%.
You've done one project, so you have some level of awareness when it comes to e-commerce platforms. Um, let me see. Interesting. It's actually quite. I've noticed at least that you tend to get typically you get two kinds of people. One is you get somebody who's technical, who's really good at what they do, or sometimes you get a project manager who's really good at managing projects. But then it's very rare to find somebody who has both, right? It's kind of tough to find somebody who has both. And um, like in your, what is your preference? Is it more the technical side? Is it more the people, the leadership side?
Both, honestly. There's something I've implemented in a project that I used to work on is involving the tech leads and the management meetings, and involving me in the tech lead meetings. So what I learned from that is being the rook of both trades really benefits you. So for me, I don't want to choose and say this is my specialty and this is that, because I want to excel at both places. And in addition to that, is understanding some technical things would never hurt you. Even making yourself familiar with how the QA team is conducting the tests. What if someone is sick one day and you need something very urgent? And what if it needs some sort of incident reporting? What if it needs some sort of incident finding? What if it needs some sort of reporting? You have to have some sort of knowledge. And I don't shy away from that. Even though, like I said earlier, I excel at the people management and the risk management. Like I said earlier, before that, I'm a very agile person that's willing to learn a lot of things, and I don't shy away from learning, even for those that work um, on a different department. So I tend to do a little bit of both, and whenever there's issue around the office, I'm always in the center of it. Even I don't understand some of the things that they're talking about, you'll never miss me there. And you'll find me saying, hey, what if it's from this server? What if it's from this service provider? What if it's from, it could be a lot of things. And I'm usually at the center of both things, because I believe the synergy of both is how you excel in any project.
Amazing, perfect. Um, yeah, just fascinating to get your perspective and see all the different things that you're working on. So, are you born and raised in Ethiopia?
Yes, sir. Born and raised, but I've relocated a little in China for a while. I've lived back and forth for like 3 years there, and you learn a lot from different cultures, and the multicultural
China.
environments are something that I
Tell,
really, yeah.
tell me
And you'll
about that.
understand how project management is
T-
done there.
okay, tell me about China. Like, so how did you end up going?
My father owns a logistics company that imports and exports certain goods. So I had to basically manage certain things for him. So in my spare time, I had to basically do those things. And luckily enough, my job was remote that I had in Ethiopia. So I had the ability to live whatever I wanted. And what I learned from there is, while doing this type of things, and again dealing with many type of people, is you learn a lot. And what I learned from the Chinese and the country in general, is financial management is something that, man, when I tell you, they are on point. They're really strict, very disciplined. Nobody is disrespectful towards any type of achievement, anything wants to make. Everybody's a working force. I learned discipline from there. I learned time management from there. They work on Sundays. They have like a limited amount of holidays, and it's like the concept of weekends is very foreign to them, because you walk in on a Sunday and the malls full of people are selling. And it also allowed me to explore the international side of business. So what I learned from there is, being born and raised in Ethiopia kind of puts you in this sandbox where you can't escape unless you have this type of exposure, and very ad hoc principles that are taken under when it comes to management in Ethiopia don't have room anywhere else in the world. So you learn principles, you learn process, you learn sciences when it comes to management, and uh, that's what I learned from there. And that's, I mean, because the limited of the scope of this conversation, that's what I can tell you about what I've learned in China and how my experience was there, and also the culture. Beautiful, man.
Really, like I think I'm okay exploring more of like the different sides um of what you've been doing. And essentially, so did you stay there for a long time, or is it like just short trips?
It was a mid trip. I stayed there for like 3 months at once. Come back here, spend 2 weeks, go back there, spend 6 months, come back here, spend a week, go back there, spend 2 weeks until COVID hit. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated by Chinese culture. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of, I guess, Eastern um, entertainment. So a lot of K dramas or C dramas, and it is quite fascinating to me. Especially one thing that I saw was how developed some of their cities were, and you don't really get that if you just watch like a lot of Western content. You don't get to see that side, but their cities are like so. Some of them are so advanced, massive cities, beautiful. So what parts of China have you been to?
I've been to the southern eastern side. I've been to the southern western side. So more or less the trade type of side. So I've been to Shanghai, Guangzhou, Yiwu, and Hangzhou. So these four cities, I mean, I could not shut up about Shanghai. The ports, the buildings, it's so beautiful. But then you learn a lot when you go to the rural areas as well. I don't quite remember the names of the cities, quite difficult to pronounce as well. But what I've learned from, let's say, you was it's the big. It has the biggest dry port on Earth. It contributes around 50% to Chinese economy, and nobody has heard of it. We know Beijing and Shanghai, but have you heard of it? I personally did not before I traveled there. And you see this vast city in the middle of nowhere. You walk 2 kilometers away from the city, it's nothing but like very dense forest, and then you have to travel 4 hours, 6 hours to even get to another city away from it. But you see people live their life there. They have their own community, they have their own McDonald's, they have their own KFC, they have their own Starbucks. They're not as so secluded from the world. They have their own world there in a way. And it's so beautiful to see this type of places as well. But it was also intriguing to go to, for funds and other activities, to go drive 2 hours away from the city, and then you see people that have never seen black people, and they have to swipe, their hands across your face to see if
They
you had
want to
it.
check.
Is that
Yeah,
pain?
yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
have.
there are kids taking pictures with you and so forth because you're so new and foreign. And exploring that side of China was also beautiful. But like you say, very developed, very developed and well structured, organized, very clean cities. And you might not have even heard about that place. And it hosts like maybe 100 million there. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's a very beautiful thing to explore. Southeastern culture, love it, man.
Yeah. So, I guess have you been to any other places other than China? Have you traveled to other places?
Yeah, limited to Abu Dhabi and Dubai. But that was for a small break that I've taken twice or three times in my life, but nothing else. Other than that, it was just China. But I've explored a lot of places there, so I feel like I'm more of I guess a global citizen in a way, because you when you see two opposite ends of things, the capitalist and the socialist side of things, you learn a lot and you find that balance between it. And I mean, everybody's children and learner of the world, right? So internet is a vast place to explore, and I feel like I've explored everywhere and I haven't shied away from
Yeah, that's an amazing experience to have for sure. Like being able to see the trade side of things is not something that a lot of people do get access to. That sounds like super cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. So one thing that I was going to ask you about is like in terms of your English, I can see that you speak English really well. Is that like from your school, or is it a cultural thing? Like, what happened there? Like, can you speak a little bit about that?
it. Yeah, I love language. I learned a little Mandarin. I learned a little Arabic. Forgotten about it now. But English, I guess it comes naturally when you're exposed to the way of life that you have. where you spend your time. And if you read a lot of books and if you spend your time attached to a computer a lot, you'll learn to understand this type of things. And it don't necessarily has to be culture, but for me, it was something that I strive to do. And thank you for noticing, because I've always pride myself in the day when everybody was flunking in English. I used to be that guy that scored 100 everywhere. So yeah, it kind of makes me proud.
That's great. Yeah, well, I guess, do you have any questions for me? Because go ahead.
Yeah. I just have one question, and it's because you told me you're a civil engineer as well. Do you think it's a bit common to go into the project management from civil engineering, or is that like something that you stumbled upon as well? Because I feel like you're very enthusiastic about management as well.
Well, I don't know if I would say I'm very enthusiastic about management, but I graduated probably like it's been a while, anyways, maybe 10 years ago, from Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia. And when we graduated, we were called the China batch, because there were so many of us. So basically what happened the previous year, I think the graduating year of civil engineering students was like 90 students. And when we graduated, if you might not remember, you're probably much younger than I am, but back in the day, what happened
I've
was the
heard of
government.
you guys. I've heard of the China batch.
You've heard, yeah, we're
we,
a
yeah, we went to
legend.
the same school, so
Yeah, we're a legend. So basically, what happened is the government had this policy where they wanted to have a lot of civil engineers. So our graduating class was 900 students, which is 10x the year right before us. So they called us the China batch. And what happened after that is when we came into the job market, it was very, very difficult for a lot of us to find work. So, and basically what you could get paid as a civil engineer went just plummeting down because the competition just changed. And a lot of my friends actually became pilots. A lot of my friends just immediately went on the pilot journey, and a lot of them started working for Ethiopian Airlines. A lot of them, my friends, completely changed career directions because if you went into the market and you wanted to be a civil engineer, it was so competitive. The lines, like if you were applying for work, it was ridiculous. And then, so for me, it was more of like I just went the teacher route. So I was a teacher at Makale University for 2 years, and then I came to do my master's in Canada in construction engineering and management. So I think what I found was I wasn't as passionate about managing construction projects. Um, I, yeah, I don't know. I think that was why I did that for a bit in my career, but now I'm kind of changing into more of like a people-centered work. We started Mado. We're focused on helping people find remote work, and it's a lot more fulfilling. It's challenging, but it's yeah, it's something I enjoy doing. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
yeah, it does. It does. I can't wait till we talk about people from your batch that taught me, and other, I guess, the teachers that we have shared. And it's going to be an exciting journey working with you and us. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
That's
it's
all.
gonna be it's really nice to chat with you, and then yeah, so thank you for the talents interview session today.
I
Thanks, buddy.
appreciate it. Thank you so much,
Okay,
Jonas.
thanks, God.